Day, and then we'll get real hopeful. Okay, so what is Armistice Day? Armistice Day is commemorated every year on 11 November to mark the armistice signing between the Allies of World War I and Germany and France. It was actually 11/11 they signed it. I don't know why this says 5:45 a.m. That's a lie. Which took effect. Oh, here we go. Which took effect at 11 o'clock in the morning, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. Okay, so that's what it is. Today is 11/11, and then 11/11, 9/18. All right, it encodes 9/11, 9/11, 11/11, 9/11. Right? Okay, so why do I not celebrate any of this? Because they made sure that we all knew that World War I was nonsense. How? Does anyone know? Show of hands, class. I don't like celebrating war. I never will again. I never will again. Have you seen Don Jr. reaction when Crowder told him, "I love you, baby"? No, I don't care at all. I'm explaining to you why I don't care about these things. And I've known this for a while. I just don't like ladling gravy that is this intense sometimes. Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated by a guy named, this is all allegedly, by a guy named Princip, who was part of the Black Hand, a Serbian resistance movement, right? So that started a chain reaction that led to the Great War, which led to the deaths of millions and millions and millions of bright, beautiful, hardworking, brave, courageous young European males. Okay, does anyone want to take a guess what the license plate of Archduke Ferdinand said? That's Archduke Ferdinand's car that he was assassinated in. A111118. Armistice 11/11/18. And no, I don't believe in time travelers. No, I don't believe this is all a simulation. No, I don't believe any of the nonsense that people try and say to justify this stuff. I believe that is a sign, a signal to the population that this was all nonsense. That from the very beginning, this war was not what they described, and that they encoded the Armistice Day on the license plate of the very beginning of the war. It was pointless. And if you think it's coincidence, you're retarded. A for armistice, 11/11/1911. Yeah, gematria, exactly. They're showing you that from the very, very, very beginning. From the very beginning, it's all movie script. From the very beginning, they're showing you it's theater. That World War I itself was scripted. That from the first shot to the last shot, they knew exactly how long it would be, exactly how many people they needed to kill. And so, yeah, and then so when a young Adolfo Hitlerio found out about this, he made sure France signed their defeat in a train car, the same train car that the armistice from World War I was signed, because Adolfo Hitlerio found out that this was the case. A lot of Germans did at the time, and they were not too happy. And so when they attacked, and there's a whole other thing going on with him. Who paid him, why that happened, how it got hijacked, who Himmler worked for. It's a whole thing. This is why we're going to focus on gardening today. But imagine being a soldier who had to live and die in the hell that was Verdun and the Somme and in these trenches where you'd see a friend that you were just picking chits with. That's why it's called chit chat. Chits are little bugs, and you would sit around and pick chits off, chit chat, and then you'd see them get their head blown off, and then they'd be in no man's land for years, and you'd watch them decompose right in front of you because you couldn't go into no man's land without being killed, and then the poison gas would come in. That's why Adolfo Hitlerio had a tiny mustache, because that's the mustaches they would all wear for the gas masks. And so when he found out, and when the Germans found out that this whole thing was encoded, that Armistice 11/11/8 was on the very license plate of the alleged cause of World War I, they were not too happy. So in the very train car where World War I was signed, the armistice, Adolfo Hilario made sure that France signed in the same train car. He's basically a John Wick character. Don't take that ticket, though. Don't take that ticket. World War II was even worse because it's almost like engaging with trolls, where that's why I just ban everybody. I'll engage with like high level trolls that are sending gamma hives at me and stuff, but like the more you engage, the more they suck from you. It's just like dating a stripper. It's like there is no bad attention to these people. So whether it's good attention or bad attention, it's the absolute value of attention. -8 and +8 is still 8. Doesn't matter either direction. It's amplitude. It's distance from 0. So when you get real mad at the grabblers, and you try to fight them, they win. World War I battlefields were the most horrendous conditions in human history, by far. To the point where it was the genocide of European males. Right, but when he got real pissed about it, Adolfo Hilario, the Second World War killed even more. That should teach you something. And don't just keep regurgitating and reliving the same trauma. That's something that I see a lot of people fall into, where it's like, oh, so now we gotta kill the grabblers. It's like, would you like another history lesson? You can't. Like, you have to outstrength them. You have to grow. You have to be in a position where you have a strong family, strong community, strong faith, where when someone knocks at your door and tries to get your gold or your guns or vaccinate your kid, you can say no, to the point where they don't even get to your door. That's how you win. I was a history major in college. I know people call me a kook, but it's like, I've studied this. I've read more books just on World War II than the average person has read in their entire lifetime. Primary documents. Hitler never ordered the Holocaust. That's a historical fact, and hopefully that doesn't get lost to the memory hole of history. If I choose a hero, it would be Hitler. No, Hitler made a horrendous mistake. I don't get if you're a troll or if you're just not listening. You can't fight them at their own game. You can't out-death. You can't kill the Grim Reaper. You can't out-sin Satan. It's like the whole thing is when you lose, it all starts at home. This is why this is a really good episode for this. Because I'm going to show you where strength starts. You're right, BB, I was a huge history buff. Yeah, there was no order. There's a reason people question Adolfo Hitlerio's Mean Mr. Mustache narrative. Because the Germans were meticulous at record keeping. There was no order ever to do what is claimed they did. None. There's no evidence. The lack of evidence is profound. But the way I see it, it doesn't matter. I'm a results guy. If you allow your story, your history, your media, the control, if you don't take your parental responsibility seriously and you put your kids in front of Facebook and History Channel and all this stuff and send them to public schools and all that stuff, they won't know the truth. And it's your fault. And you can't just get mad at the hats for it, because it's your failure. And that's the problem I'm seeing in some of these youth movements, is they're not accepting responsibility. Their parents failed them. The baby boomers failed everybody. They were failed. And so now they're looking for someone to blame. That doesn't work historically. See it as you were set free, that you no longer have to do what your parents said. Your parents said to go to college, don't go to college. Your parents said you should date for 5 years before settling down. No, get married, have children. Your parents said that the Bible was nonsense. It was a fairy tale, but yet NASA was true. Say no, you're wrong. Your own anger is your biggest weapon against you. Yes. Even the grabblers are part of God's plan. He used them to, yeah, but here's the thing. There will always be grabblers. If you killed every current grabbler in the world, there would be just as many grabblers in 5 years, if not more. It's like coyotes. If you kill a coyote, they go into heat. All the coyotes around are going to heat, and then they have more coyotes. You can't do it that way. It's not effective. because evil doesn't know a demographic. Evil can infect, evil can enter anywhere. The merchants of evil, the merchants of sin need a buyer. Without a buyer, there is no merchant of sin. If nobody took the ticket, if nobody agreed to send their kids to these world wars, they would, no one would show up. And look at this. The license plate of Ferdinand encoded the Armistice Day. You can't get around that. You can call me a conspiracy kook all you want. A1 11/11/18. It's like they knew the whole time when it would end. I don't believe in time travel. I'm not the kook. I'm not the one that's like, oh, this is all a matrix. This is all a fantasy. This is all, reality's fluid. Nothing in my life has shown me that reality's fluid, because it isn't fluid. It's real. And someone wanted people to see that, because every ticket that they make you take, they require consent. And so they're basically saying, if you don't take the time to see this and register what this means, and you send your kids to another war, you deserve their death. That's what they're saying. I'm telling you. Like, now that I'm suing Patreon, and now that I'm meticulously reading YouTube's new terms and conditions and stuff, I see what they're making you agree to. I used to just hit accept. No. Oh, by the way, subscribe to unauthorized.tv. December 10th, there's a good chance they're going to wipe this channel, because one of the new things is they'll wipe any channel that doesn't have ads. They said that if it isn't commercially viable, is how they reviewed it. So now I see what they're doing. So if you don't have ads, they can just wipe your channel. So subscribe to youtube.com/OwenBenjaminLive and unauthorized.tv. We've prepared for this. Sure, I'll lose a couple 100,000 followers, but the good ones will stay. You have to let the vampires in, exactly. So just please subscribe, because this will be taken down. If not today, if not tomorrow, eventually. They're trying. The terms and conditions are telling you how they're going to do it, so that you have time to prepare. You have a generation to prepare. So, all right, let's now talk about cool stuff. So again, tomorrow I talk to Wrangler Star, same time. And today, if you go to unauthorized.tv and you're a subscriber, you can watch my newest special, You're Doing Great, Kid. Owen the alt-right troll. That's hilarious. What if we did, instead of alt-right, it's all right. All right. Jews can thrive in the swamps of our sins. Yeah, but it's grabblers, because look at Steven Crowder. Look at Joe Rogan is not a Jew. I mean, he thrives in sodomy and sin and lies and deceit. And, I was thinking of a funny cartoon that maybe Jim Bob could make, because, now that we have kids, we say that my wife and I have decided to say Santa Claus. There's many Santa Clauses. And it's it's an idea. It's a giver. The spirit of Christmas, old Saint Nick. And it's like, oh, there's a Santa Claus. We don't say that there's one Santa Claus in the North Pole, because because you're kind of just lying to your kids, And I want to give them like wonderment and all that bullshit, but like, it sets them up for NASA. I was thinking a funny cartoon that Jim Bob could make is like, there's no, hey kid, hey Timmy, Santa Claus is real. It's like, oh, when he gets older, we'll tell him about what's fake and what's real. And he's wearing a NASA t-shirt. All right. Owen, what are your thoughts on the use of poppy as a symbol of armistice? It's all mockery. The poppy fields. It's mockery, guys. And appreciate your soldiers to the degree where you don't celebrate it, so that other people don't have to make that same mistake.